Tepeyac Leadership Initiative series, where today we are speaking with TLI alumni from the 2018 cohort in Phoenix, Arizona, Dulce Hernandez Valdez. Dulce graduated from Arizona State University with a Bachelor of Arts in Elementary Education and with an emphasis in bilingual education. Dulce began her teaching experience as a first grade and kindergarten teacher. She then transitioned to teach preschool children and joined Westside Head Start, a program of Catholic Charities Community Services. She went on to become a family support specialist to work alongside vulnerable families, which led her to become a program governance specialist, where she found herself equipping and preparing parents as leaders. Father engagement has also been dear to her heart. She recognized the need to engage fathers in their child's education. After 11 years, she made the decision to take on another experience. She joined the agency's philanthropy team to oversee parish and community engagement. For the last 3 years, along with her team at Catholic Charities, she started a champion volunteer program for parishes, a group called Prayer Champions. It was all to strengthen consistent communication with more than 90 parishes and missions in northern and central Arizona. She is married to a loving husband and has a beautiful daughter who is the first in their family to attend a Catholic school. Their family are now also preparing to open their home to foster children. Dulce, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Jennifer.
Well, I first want to start off with what you do now. Can you tell us what Catholic Charities is and what is it exactly that you do for them?
Yes. So Catholic Charities Community Services is here overseeing and providing services and programs for Northern and Central Arizona, like you mentioned. We oversee programs for the most vulnerable. We help the communities most vulnerable with solutions that permanently improve their lives. And that's the beauty of our services and programs. We support that person and where they're at coming in crisis, and we want them to leave thriving, flourishing with themselves and in the communities. We have a shelter for veterans. We have our Manna House transitional shelter for our homeless veterans. We have a shelter for victims of domestic abuse. That's called My Sister's Place. We focus on early childhood education in the West Valley with Westside Head Start, and then in the East Valley with Parents as Teachers. We provide low-cost counseling services. We provide low-cost immigration services. We support our refugees who are coming into our country so that they can be wonderful citizens of this new home for them. So there is an array of work that we do, again, here in Central and Northern Arizona. We're growing. I think one thing that we can celebrate with our agency, September is Catholic Charities Awareness Month, turning 87 years of service this 2020. And also we're opening up a Bullhead City, a shelter in Bullhead City, Center for Help and Hope, first of its kind up there. And we're excited and just eager to continue to support our most vulnerable.
Wow. That is a lot that you guys do for the whole community. So what is it exactly that you do? What is your role? And can you tell us a little bit more about that Champions volunteer program?
Yes, so my responsibility is to oversee parish and community engagement. So a lot of relationship building with our Catholic churches. In this position, I've been for 3 years. And so it's been a wonderful experience to get to meet different priests, people from the diocese, working alongside with them. And so it's been a wonderful journey. It's opened up the doors to increasing in my faith and the beauty that each church building has. It's been wonderful. But I make those relationship buildings. I connect them to our programs. We have some great parishes who their passion is children in foster care. And so we have a foster care program. And so we connect them to see what work the church, the people can do alongside with those that we serve that are vulnerable. There's donation drives, there's second collections. We need the help of the church to be able to carry out our mission. We can't do this by ourselves. And so my work is definitely linking our programs and the church together so they can play out their faith, they can do the work that we're here to do on earth. The Champions program was an opportunity for us to be able to have some type of ambassador and liaison at each church. That's what we're striving for. We want people, because there's not a lot of people that know everything that we do, Jennifer. I know that there's some people that say, well, I hear the word Catholic Charities, but I have no idea everything that you do. And so we would love to have an ambassador at each parish. This would be a volunteer opportunity where they learn about everything that we do and they keep their parish informed. We know that in the parish, a lot of people know each other. They have that relationship. But if I'm from Catholic Charities and I'm at my home parish and that's where I go, then they'll start to see Dulce there. And they'll start to see me with a table with services and programs, and they can much more likely come to me, Dulce, who comes to this parish, than if strangers come and do that. So we want to be able to link that ambassador liaison of Catholic Charities to that home parish and build those connections and bridges, because we know that there's a lot of people in our own church who are in need of help, or that know somebody who needs help. And so this champion would be able to provide that help to them. So we're hoping to increase the champions in our community and just provide that help that people need out there.
And what kind of impact have you seen with this program? Have you seen parishioners kind of create movements, or what is it that you've seen so far?
Well, we're in the beginning stages, but we do have a partnership with about 20 parishes right now. One of the things that I've seen is we've had one champion be in the bulletin announcement as the Catholic Charities liaison so that they can call. So now we see that there's other agencies that are being able to contact that representative or volunteer in order to get the help. And so now they see this champion in the bulletin and they can call them and ask for help. I know another champion, they're in the works of doing that same exact thing. A great thing is that there's an opportunity where the priest has called this champion, you know, hey, we have a family in need. They called me, you know, do you have any services that you can tell me so I can share with them? And so that bridge of being able to speak with a priest to call you and say, hey, do you have anything where I can refer this family to in need? And so I think those are the opportunities that we want to see. We want them to know that we have a place, and if we don't have the services, we'll link them to do that. And so one of the things that I've seen with the champions is that sense of responsibility for their community. A phone number can go a long way. And so what a wonderful way of helping those in need because of these champions. And that's one of the things that I've seen with them. People are eager to help. They're eager to make those connections. They're eager to find that fulfillment in the heart, that phone number that they just gave or that talk with that priest will change someone's life.
And how can people get involved?
So right now, I know that they can give me a call. Let's talk about it. Let's find out if this is the fit for you. I think we have training. We have an orientation of the agency. They're in communication with me all the time. I keep them updated with so much. But together we can figure that out together. But just calling me and saying, Dulce, I'm here to help. I want to be part of, maybe I want to be more involved in my church. Maybe there's not that opportunity. And so if this is one way that they can be involved, to call me and we can move from there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for what you do, because this seems so important for our church right now, for us to get involved, for us to help each other and be there for one another like how we're called to do. But another thing that interests me about your career and your journey and getting to where you are today is you dedicated a good amount of time to help fathers become more involved in their children's education. How did you go about that, and why do you think that is so important?
This was the work that I started off with Westside Head Start. I know that, well, my parents got divorced at an early age, and so, you know, I think after five or 3 years of age, I didn't have my father, and as time went on, I kept seeing the importance of that positive father figure that could have impacted me in my life and through my experiences. And so when I became a teacher with Westside Head Start, the afternoon teacher that was there with me, we had that in common. And so together, we created these activities that would get the fathers more involved, because we always see moms involved, you know? But we started bringing them in, and we started seeing a different change in the children. Not to mention the moms. The moms were like, you know, at first they were a bit jealous. Why pulling them in and not them? But it was a wonderful experience. And as I continue to grow in that program, I started to learn more, you know, statistics of how children, you know, need that energy with that father, how their reading levels can increase when fathers are more engaged and read to them, how science and math are such key, you know, subjects for fathers that are great in that. You know, when I think about taking an outlet out of, you know, to switch in your, you know, the socket, when I see all these wires, I'm just kind of like, what in the world? Some people have that drive, some people don't. But I can see fathers know, they know how to connect it. And so there's a lot of great things that science, reading, and math have an impact with children when fathers are more involved. So we started learning, and we took the journey with our teachers. But it was all strategically measured out. What was going to be our first phase? What was going to be our second phase? It wasn't going to be, hey, involve the fathers. I think it all started with how teachers even had that first contact with the father. We discovered that some fathers didn't even feel acknowledged when they came in the door and dropped off their children. So we had to start somewhere. Even going back a little bit, the acknowledgement, but where were teachers, which are probably 90% predominantly women, where were they with fathers in their own experiences, just like I did? Now, I didn't have any anger towards my father or anything in that matter, but perhaps there may be some of the staff who probably did, and only they know. So we had to take a journey step by step, talking to them about those barriers, letting them share their experiences, what they thought about a positive father figure, what they didn't think about a positive figure. And then we kept going, sharing statistics, information to our staff, and gradually growing and taking them through that journey. We saw a change in fathers. Fathers were coming in, dropping off their children. They were involved in activities in science with their children. The teachers were doing math activities, reading activities. It was just a wonderful journey that I was so proud of being a part of, but not myself. This was an opportunity of growth with all of us. And the opportunity to let the teachers drive this and see the impact they were making on their children and on the families that were being served. So,
Wow, that sounds so wonderful.
yeah.
I never heard a program like that caters to parents and getting them involved with their child's education. So God bless you for being involved. For parents out there, what is one piece of advice that you'd like to give them when it comes to being involved in their child's education?
I would say spending quality time with them, having those parent-child relationships, that hug all of a sudden, that I love you all of a sudden, getting down on the ground and playing with them. Our children are hungry for that right now. They're hungry for those conversations. They're hungry for those hugs and kisses. They're hungry for laying in bed with them and reading a book together. So I would definitely say that that opportunity that you have with your children, to definitely embrace it and avoid the being on the phone a lot, being on TV. I know we live in a world where we can definitely focus on only our well-being, and that is very important. But when we have children, I've learned from my own experiences, I gotta focus on their well-being so that they can grow to be that person that I want them to be. And those are the tools necessary for them right now.
Thank you, Dulce. Now, after years of leadership and getting involved in education and community, what did you get out of TLI to help you become a better leader?
Mm. Well, it came in different directions. I think the first thing was that, was I open to this? Because when you come into a program, are you open? And that's a big important question that you should have. And so I was open. I was eager to find something that, because there's a lot of programs that we encounter, right? I mean, there's opportunities to grow in different ways, but this opportunity opened up my eyes in areas that I really didn't think of. It introduced me to different portions of society where it never even crossed my mind. Of course, with my education background, I think one of the things that stood out to me was what our children were learning in sex education, and how parents had no clue what they were learning in school, and that they can do this without even their permission. And so I encountered those eye-opening moments. I encountered those Catholic leaders that were presented. My gosh, they were impactful. They were insightful. It was wonderful to be able to look at role models that we hope to become in the future, right? Another thing that I experienced was the audience. There was more people like me eager to find this opportunity. I built friendships. There's definitely that sense of community. I got to meet you. I got to meet Christopher in a more deeper level. I got to meet other friends that are definitely people that I can come to in those times of need, that will definitely help me in my mission. So it definitely provides you with an array of opportunities for you to step into and make this world a better place.
Now, I kind of wanted to switch gears. You and your family are opening up your homes to foster care. First off, I want to say congratulations. That is amazing. I'm excited for your family. Can you tell us what made you and your husband decide to go with foster care?
It wasn't easy, let me tell you. It was a decision that has been in our minds for a while. I was the one that was not ready for this journey. He was. When I finally said, okay, I was in a 50% feeling, and all of a sudden he wasn't. This was 2 years ago. And during this time, with the challenges that we're facing with this pandemic, there was definitely a moment of meditating, of prayer, of thinking about the blessings that I have around me, around our family. And it was definitely a point where I finally said yes. And it took a load off my shoulders. And so when I said yes, it was that opportunity that I said, that we both said, you know what, I think we're ready for this. We have a beautiful home. We have a vehicle that fits, I don't know how many, and it's only 3 of us. We're blessed with our careers. Why not? And children are very important to me. And so we said yes. And we spoke to our daughter. She was definitely on board. He was definitely on board. Now, we went from not, so to all of a sudden, yes. And so it has been. We just finished our classes that we have to take. We're in the position where we are arranging someone to come and assess our home, and we're eager and we're on top of it. But let me tell you that I really had to ask our Lord to feel that hunger in my heart, because it wasn't there. It wasn't there. And I said, if this is what you want me to do, fill my heart with that thirst, with that hunger to get on this journey to help your children. And we would love to adopt, but if it's children that you think will come into our house to feel the love of a family and maybe later on have that impact in the future, let it be. And if it's someone that you think you want us to take care of forever, then we're open to that as well. So you got to ask for it. You got to ask for that grace of God and that Holy Spirit to come into your heart if there's something that you're not sure of. And if you ask, you will receive. And so it happened, and we're excited to see who we're going to receive in our house, so, and in our family.
Beautiful. I'm going to keep praying for you guys, because that's such a noble and beautiful vocation that you guys have opened yourselves to. The last question that I would like to ask you is, what leader inspires you and why?
I would have to say Saint Teresa of Calcutta. I find myself seeking words that she said, quotes. I love reading about the encounters she's had with people and what she's shared with them. And I think the biggest thing is I admire the way she humbly worked with people in the work of humanitarian work that she did. I loved that motherly figure that she was for so many people, for the people that were dying in the streets, for people with leprosy, for people with HIV. When we think about people who suffer in this kind of matter, and that she was there to take care of them in their most critical moment of their lives, where they may be losing and have no hope, she was there. I loved how she had other people alongside with her, and that they both worked through these challenging times that she was living in. And so when I think about that and how loving she was, that transmits to me. I feel that I want to be like her, that I want to say the things that she said. I know in one of her quotes, she talked about forgiving people. That you might be kind, that you may find happiness, and people are not going to be so happy about that, but that to forgive them anyway. And I like how she ends it with that it was never between you and them. It was between you and God. And I think that it's helped me realize to really focus on seeing him and other people, and her actions just speak louder than words. And so I think she's a leader that I can see, that I can read about, and that I can strive to try to be at least this much like her. So.
Wow, Dulce, you're such a beautiful soul. I hope you know that you radiate love and charity, and I'm just so glad that through this program, TLI, I've gotten to meet somebody like you. And to finish off, would you please lead us in the TLI prayer written by St. John Paul II?
Absolutely. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Mother, strengthen the faith of our brothers and sisters in the Lady, so that in every field of social, professional, cultural, and political life, they may act in accordance with the truth and the law brought by your Son to mankind. Saint Juan Diego, pray for us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.